Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome back to another beta recap. It's been quite some time since my last video. That's mainly because I haven't really felt the need to make one of these because not a lot has happened on the beta server that I haven't covered in other videos, like my Halloween event first impressions. So this time though, we finally have some exciting new stuff, including some updates to the Halloween event. We have quite a few things for the winter event and also some things here about the iOS 10 and below. Now, also, one final thing I want to mention before I start. Yesterday, I made a video. I mentioned that today I will have my fall event guide out. It's a little bit delayed, so instead I'm going to do this video today, and then tomorrow you will see my fall event guide, so stay tuned for that. And also later today, at least if you're watching this video on the day I am uploading it, I am live streaming, so you'll find a link to that in the description if you want to join me there. All right, without further ado, let's start. Let's quickly talk about this. Important information for users with iOS 10 and lower. So starting from November the 9th, which is app version 1.243, we will no longer offer app updates for devices that use iOS 10 and lower. That means that you will no longer be able to play the game if you're using iOS 10 or lower. I think you will be able to play for a few versions, or I think you'll be able to play a little bit on 1.242, so the version before this, but eventually it will be unplayable and you can no longer play the game on iOS 10 and lower. So that means you have to update to at least iOS 11 or higher. Not quite sure what the latest version is, but it's quite a bit higher than 11, I know for sure. And in terms of compatibility, no, most iPhones or most Apple devices are compatible with iOS 11. The last iPhone, for example, that is not compatible is iPhone 5 and I believe 5C, which I believe came out 10 years ago from now. So yeah, any recent iPhone, I think, yeah, any recent, most iPads, I think. I'm not that familiar with the ecosystem, but yeah, most iPhone devices should be compatible with iOS 11 or higher. If yours is not, I know it sucks. You will no longer be able to play the game on it. But I don't know, perhaps it would be time anyways to update if you're using that old of a phone. For a couple of years ago, I had iPhone 4S. Don't remember the iOS. But yeah, I remember playing Forge of Empires on it, but it was definitely not easy. It was quite laggy, it crashed quite a few times. So yeah, if you're using that old devices, perhaps it is time to update if that is possible. If you're not able to update, of course, that sucks, but it is what it is, and I think it is probably necessary for the device. They did mention here, let me see. Yeah, this measure is necessary for retaining the game quality and ensuring smooth experience for all players. So if they have to, and reading behind that, the reason for this is that they don't want to update the game for the old devices or balance the game or the performance of the game towards the old devices. They want to use newer devices in mind, which will enable them to do newer thing or more resource expensive things, stuff like that. So yeah, I imagine that's the reason. I think it's quite normal that games and apps lose compatibility over time. So yeah, I don't really mind this. Anyways, moving on, let's do a quick rundown of the changelogs from the last month, really. Nothing, or very few things have changed or been, yeah, very few things have changed the last month or so. There are a few things, so let me quickly go over that. This is almost a month ago now, so I think it's live already. But doubling of a production, so either from the Blue Galaxy or the Cobalt Blue Lagoon, now doubles unit productions as well. So that was not a thing, and I think I heard that the reasoning for this is that there was a bug with the new Cobalt Blue Lagoon, and it was easier to fix this by introducing the unit production to the Blue Galaxy as well. I think the Cobalt Blue Lagoon produced units, but the easiest way to kind of quote-unquote fix that bug was to also allow the Blue Galaxy to double units. So yeah, those now double units, which is quite nice. Other than that, very few things this week, or that week. A couple of weeks ago, when using an item from the inventory, using the new window to open multiple rewards, that's something I talked about a few videos ago. You're now able to open multiple rewards, for example, the Buccaneer chest at the same time. The option for how many to open will now default to 1 instead of the max amount, to prevent accidental use of too many items. I think that's quite all right. Nothing major, but slightly new updates. I wanted to mention that as well. Outside of that, mainly bug fixes, nothing else really on that week. And then here we have probably the biggest update, something that people have been asking for a long time. The store building kit, the B, has now been capitalized. So the B of building was not capitalized. That has now been adjusted. I'm really happy to see this. I know that's something people have been asking for a long time. So it's really nice to see that Inno have finally listened to this and updated this. I think it's really big change, really important change, and I'm glad that they did that. So that was this Friday, so only a couple of days ago. Another slightly less important update this week is that they made quite a few changes to the Halloween event. So let's have a look at the changes to the Halloween event. First of all, the calendar reward text has been altered to include some information about the haunted tree. So if we go in game real quick, you can see that the text now reads, haunted tree grants forge points. The next change, the calendar collection reward now includes 1 more selection kit for the tarot card caravans. So you can now see that it gives 2 selection kits. Originally, it only gave 1 selection kit, kind of swapped out one of the selection kits for the haunted tree, which is a limited building that gives forge points. That's something that I pointed out in my original video, something I didn't like. So yeah, this has now been changed. We now get 1 additional selection kit. So again, from the calendar, we will, once again get 2 selection kits, as has been the case for all other events, all other archaeology and Halloween events with the calendar. Speaking of the calendar, the chance for stickers was too low, so that has been adjusted. The chance is now the same as last year. So last year it was quite easy to get the calendar fully leveled. This year it was really hard to find stickers. You have to find all the daily stickers. Way too low chance, so that has been improved. I haven't tested myself. As you can see, I'm still in the beginning. I'm going to save up until I have all my tickets and then spend all at once and record that and probably upload a video on that in a couple of weeks. But yeah, the chance there has now been improved, so that's nice. The reward for solving all quests from Sir Hugsalot now provides 5 instead of 2 blueprints. Not a big deal. There is one thing that it's probably a bug, but right now, or at least a couple of days ago, you got those 5 blueprints as an item in your inventory that you can open whenever you want to. I hope this is a feature and not a bug. I suspect it is a bug, but if it is a feature, this means that you can save those blueprints and use them when you age up to the new age, for example. So in a couple of months, the new age, Space Age Titan, I believe it is, should be out with the new great building. So if we are able to save it for that, we could save those blueprints, open them then, and perhaps get some blueprints from the new building. I don't know if that is how it will work or not, but it's an interesting thought. I hope it is the case, but it's probably a bug. Anyways, the cost of orbs has been reduced to 25 diamonds. So originally this one was 45 diamonds. It has now been reduced to 25. I still think it's probably not worth buying. Perhaps if you are spending diamonds, it might be worth it. I will have to do a little bit of thinking about it. Perhaps to test it out. I still have 1 free here. When I'm testing, perhaps I will buy a few more just to see how it works. But yeah, that's something that I will go over in more detail in my guide once I have some more experience with it. But my initial thoughts are still that it's probably not worth it unless you are spending diamonds, in which case it might be worth getting a few in very specific situations. But yeah, that still remains to be seen. Next, the Daunting Tower now provides 35% attack for attacking army, and also the amount of fragments has been increased, the amount of fragments you get from daily specials. So the Daunting Tower, if you don't remember or haven't seen my Halloween event video, it is a limited building. It only lasts for 1 day. It is 1 by 1, and it now gives 35% attack for attacking army. That is a lot of attack, but as it is a limited building, it will only last 1 day, so I still don't think it is worth it. And the main reason I don't think it is worth it is because of the way you get them from daily specials. So as mentioned, the number of fragments you get has been increased, but they have only been increased to 15. So you need 100 fragments to get one of these fully leveled. Originally, I think you got 5 fragments from the daily specials. You now get 15, but that still means you need 7 daily specials to get 1 Daunting Tower. And from this event, you can't really get that many daily specials. So that means that at most, if you buy the Halloween prices, the event pass, you will probably not get more than 2 or 3 of these fully leveled if you focus on them. And that means that for 1 day, you get 100% additional attack. It's nice, but it's definitely not a lot. It rarely changes things that much. So I still don't think it is worth going for the Daunting Tower as a daily special. I think you are much better off getting the House of the Wolf. For the same number of daily specials as 1 Daunting Tower, you can get 1 House of the Wolf or House of Horrors fully leveled. So I think you should go for that instead. Alternatively, you could go for Sentinels. I assume those are returning, or other items. Yeah, I still don't think this is worth it. Ideally, in my mind, the way these Daunting Towers should work, I think you should be able to get 1 per daily special when they appear as a daily special. This means that you might be able to get, 10 of these, 15 of these. And in that case, an additional 3, 4, 500 attack, even for 1 day, could be a very interesting strategic choice and could, for example, allow you to go through max attrition in Guild Battlegrounds. Perhaps it will help you there. And in that case, it might be worth spending it on them. And then for 1 day, go through max attrition in Guild Battlegrounds. Or 2 days, really. You can use them for 2 different before and after the reset. So yeah, that might be a case where these could have been useful if you're able to get a lot of them. But if you're only able to get 1 or 2 or 3 of them, it's not helpful. It's not enough attack. So even though it does give a lot of attack for the size, yeah, because they only last 1 day, it's not really useful. So it's a shame. I like not that big fan of the idea. I think it could have had interesting use cases, but not in its current state, and not when you need 7 daily specials to get 1 of these fully leveled. All right. Then they also have a few other changes. They changed the first milestone reward to a level 1 building instead of a selection kit. So originally, this here, the level 1 building here was a selection kit. I think I have that in my inventory. Yeah, there we go. I have the selection kit. That is now the level 1 building. Not a big change, but it doesn't really change anything. But I think it's nice to have the level 1 building there, especially for newer players who might not really understand how it works. I think it's nicer to have the level 1 building. The starting amount of orbs have been decreased to 1. So they removed 1 orb, but you get 1 again from the board. And I think this addresses one of the complaints I had in my initial video. And that was the fact that you got 2 of these orbs to begin with, but you were forced to spend 1 on the first window here, the first board here. I really dislike that. It's not that big of a deal, but I think just, it just feels wrong. You see you have 2, you feel, oh nice, you're able to spend 2, or you get 2 of these for free, but then you're forced to use 1. So it's the same as if you only had 1 for free, but yeah, now you get 1 here. Actually, I'm kind of lucky because I now have 2 of these, I think. Yeah, so originally, if I had started, or on live, when you start, you will start with 1 of these instead of 2. I started with 2, had to use 1, so I had 1 left. Picking that up, I now have 2. But yeah, on live, you will start with 1, you will be forced to spend that, you end up with 0, but you'll pick it up again here. So in the end, nothing has really changed. I don't really think it addresses the quote-unquote issue. It's not a big issue, but yeah, I don't know. I just dislike being forced to spend something, especially in situations where you don't want to, because the first board here is the same for all players, and using the orb here doesn't help you at all. So it's there to show players how it works. I understand that, but yeah, I just don't like how it forces you to spend an orb. It just gives the illusion of, I don't know, it's not a big deal. So let's move on. Let's move on to the spoiler section and to the winter event. So last time we didn't have a lot. We had the main building, but not much else. We might have had the portraits, I'm not sure. But yeah, we now have 5 new portraits, finally a new snowman, St. Nicholas, and a few others, Nutcracker and so on. I don't know, I quite like the snowman. I think it looks interesting. Nicholas one, interesting as well. Too big of a fan of the other 3, but yeah, I don't know. Willy Wonka, I think this is based on. Anyways, the quest giver is Winter Cocoa. Yeah, I think it looks quite nice. We have the event pass here. Nothing really to talk about here. It's the same as the last couple of events. So the event pass will return. It will be interesting to see if they keep this feature of requiring you to spend real money to unlock this, or if they will go back to diamonds. We will have to see. And we will also see how that works on the live Halloween event. I will come back to the piggy bank in a moment. We also have a few miscellaneous items. So the pass progress for the event pass. The house and the matches probably are the same as last year, where to get the grand prizes, you light matches to light up houses, and to light up 20 houses to get the next grand prize. So just that's probably the same there. We do have 2 new things, the elf and the bow tie. Not quite sure how those will work, but this event will most likely have some updated things. So let's talk about the piggy bank and reindeer sleigh. Now, those assets have been changed a few times. So originally, we had this piggy bank background. And piggy bank, in case you don't know, that is kind of the code word for the reindeer sleigh that we have had for a few winter events now, I think. And it's also the actual name of it in the summer event. So this will be most likely the quote-unquote premium feature, where when you get the daily special, I assume, you will also get a reward here, up to 9, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then to get those, you have to pay diamonds. That's how it has worked, and it's probably not anything different now. The background has been changed, but probably not too much else. Another thing that probably has been changed a little bit, here we have the piggy bank background choose. So the way I interpret this is that when you get a reward, when you get a daily special, I think you will be able to choose between 2 rewards for the piggy bank, and you will get that reward in the piggy bank. But again, you probably have to spend probably 4,000 diamonds to actually unlock it. Now, this is how the assets looked originally, quite low quality, I think. So yeah, these were just placeholders. They've now been updated, and here we can see how they actually look now. Much nicer graphics. The items will probably sit on the shelf here, I imagine. And then also here, the piggy event background choose has been updated. much nicer assets, I think. And the figure that was in the middle here, that has been removed, but it's probably not removed. It's probably just moved to another asset. And that brings me to this Winter Shop 1 asset. Not quite sure what exactly it is, the Winter Shop, if that's for the piggy bank, for example. But that's actually been, there's been 3 versions of it now. So the original version of the asset looked like this, which is more or less the same assets we used last year. So we can see the assets from the minigame, the show 2, the double, the star, and so on. That was updated a few days later to look like this. So here you can see probably an updated asset for the elf. So that will probably sit here or stand here in this window here. This is probably also a placeholder because it's grayed out and quite rough quality. But yeah, it's probably going to look something like this. And it'll allow you to choose between 1 of 2 rewards, I imagine, for the piggy bank. What's interesting in this asset here is that we can see that the icons for last year's event has been removed. So the star, the show 2, and the double, those are no longer available. The key and key fragments, those are still available. The houses and matches, all of that's still available. We still have the reindeer sleigh, but they are now, I don't know, it's just a background for some reason. So that's probably something to do with the reindeer sleigh being updated to the Elves workshop, probably, I think. We'll have to see. So yeah, we'll have to see how that works. Various assets, but interestingly, that was updated once again, this asset. And in the latest version, the assets for last year's event has actually been re-added again. So I don't know what to make of this, because a couple of days ago, Jibber, the community manager, commented in one of my live streams where he said, by the way, you can be very excited for the winter event. So some really nice stuff just now. There is way more than what is in the spoilers you will see in the next days/weeks. So that to me suggests that there will be some new mechanics in the event. And I don't think it's just limited to the premium feature, the Elves workshop, or possibly, perhaps it's not a premium feature, perhaps it's, I don't know, a regular feature of the event now without having to spend diamonds. I don't know, I think it still will be a diamond feature, and that we are yet to see what might be new this event. Because yeah, here the old assets return, so I don't know what to make of this. Because with this asset, I assumed that the present minigame was gone completely, but now perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's an evolved present minigame, or perhaps these assets are reused for another minigame. I don't know. I suppose we will have to see exactly how it will work, but it'll be interesting to see in the upcoming weeks how exactly things will look. Because I do imagine that next week we will get quite a bit of more spoiler content for the winter event, and perhaps we will be able to make some better guesses then next week for how the winter event might actually look this time. So yeah, I think that's it for the winter event for now. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on developments here. There's one final thing I want to talk a little bit about, and that's the new tutorial that I mentioned a few times. There's been quite a bit of stuff there. Most of it has been kind of a little bit more less boring, or more boring things, text and so on. There's one thing I want to point out. So we now have a new function, or a new campaign map for the old ages, which are Bronze Age to Colonial Age. The first map on first continent map, so actually let me go in here and have a look. So the first map here, this is the old ages, that has now been slightly updated. It has a new, or not yet in game, but assets have been added for an updated version of it. And you will get this updated version if you are part of the A/B test, or the first session A/B test. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but yeah, there is a new A/B test. I don't think it is activated yet, But this A/B test is probably for this new tutorial, and first session, that would imply that this is something that new players will face. So yeah, just a confirmation, I suppose, that they are working on a new tutorial or new start of the game for new players. The interesting thing about this new map config is that it has a new background. And here we have the two backgrounds for the map. So here is the new one, here is the old one. Can you spot the difference? Can you spot the difference? Probably not. But the only difference, as far as I can see, is that on the old map, you can see in the first province here, these lines between the sectors are quite thin. I think you're able to see that. It's not that visible, but here on the new one, they are a lot thicker. They are now the same thickness as the lines separating provinces. So here you can see the second province, and the third province and so on, and the lines separating them. And the sectors in between have a much weaker separator. So that should suggest, and I think this kind of confirms speculation from previous videos. I'm pretty sure I covered it. But the speculation is that the first province will instead be split into 3 provinces. So instead of being one province with 3 sectors, it's now 3 provinces with 1 sector each. Have to keep my tongue straight there. So yeah, not 100% sure why they wanted this, but it's probably related to this new tutorial and probably a way to show how scouting works, I suppose. So yeah, these will now probably be 3 separate provinces instead of 1 province with 3 sectors as before. Not a big deal, but I don't know, it is what it is. And one very random side point, it's not really important, but also looking at this map, I realized for the first time that there is actually a bonus section for the colonial age map. So it seems like early on in the development of the game, they planned to have a bonus section for the colonial age map as well, in addition to late Middle Ages and early Middle Ages. But they never made it, because this is cloud. It has clouds behind it. If you go back in game, we can see it has clouds here, but there are actually provinces and sectors marked out below here. And it's the same for the progressive era map with these sectors here. They're also fogged out on the real server, or on the real map. Not a big deal, just wanted to point it out. I found it interesting. But that's been known for, 10 years, so nothing new there. All right, I think that's enough for now. I've talked for way too long already. So hope you found this interesting. And before I end this video, let me thank my Patreons for their support. I would like to thank Comstar, Fort Prefect, Lorden, Rock'n'Robin, Kim Cayley, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Simonad, JT, The Rev, Merrick B, Hugo Count von Count, Jon Fredriksen, Shoot the Journalist, Filda, Rush, Susan Weiss, Megarock, Rocco, Eric, Henrik Norkleber, Mattia, Obsidian Test, Raf, Kim, Adarel, Mike, Wolfboy, Flavius, Belisarius, and Atomic. Thanks a lot for your support. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.